أهلا وسهلا.
الأستاذ رايدر.
تشرفت.
We have some tea ready. Would you like some?
Oh, please.
Fatma, 3 شاي. So how long are you staying?
A week, maybe 2.
Could you take this back for me?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. So, to ask the question again, how can I help you?
I don't know that you can.
Are you really doing anything about the status of Arab women?
Yes, I am. One particular woman. But her story is tied up with everything else.
Who's that?
The princess who was executed.
Have you heard the true story?
I've heard a dozen true stories.
Tea. Fatma. شكرا. شكرا.
You lived in America for some years, didn't you?
Yes, during my teens.
Did you find it difficult to come and live back here?
No, on the contrary. There, I was an Arab and a Muslim in a country that didn't understand either. I had to come back to find myself, my roots.
But how does someone like you cope with living in a fundamentalist Muslim society like this?
This isn't a Muslim country. These people pervert Islam. They use Islam. They scare people to death with their barbarous, illegal punishments. That is not the way with Islam. A woman is nobody's property in Islam. There is no veil in Islam.
Wasn't it introduced by the Turks?
Exactly. Nearly 1,000 years after the death of the Prophet. A deliberate colonial act to destroy the Arab family. Before Ottoman rule, Arab women led armies, were equal partners in marriage, until they were silenced by that veil. Yes, of course. Look, it's so important that you understand. The way they applied the law in that girl's case has nothing to do with Islam.
What do you mean?
Skimpy evidence, killing her. Do you think there were 4 witnesses? Do you think she admitted freely? That is the only way with Islam.
Are you saying that the princess wasn't properly tried?
Of course she wasn't.
Then why was she executed? Publicly executed?
Because they wanted to make an example out of her.
Why?
Because she defied them. By her actions, she was saying, look at this blasphemy. Look what is being done to our women. She couldn't teach as I do. She couldn't mix with people in the streets. She had to die to make her point.
Which was what exactly?
This autocratic regime has nothing to do with Islamic thought, feeling, or ideology. Islam is democratic. There are no kings in Islam. The Quran says that the leaders must be elected by the people, and that the people have the right to criticize them.
Yes, that's the theory, not the practice.
And who's to blame for that?
What do you mean?
This regime is your responsibility. The West took over after the Turks, and you've always sided with the enemies of progress in the Arab world, because you want to control us. It was the same in Iran.
سميرة شوية شاي.
لحظة يا ماما. Christopher, these things aren't published. 1969, the Air Force attempted a coup. Not communists, not right-wing colonels, but the cream of our educated young men. The CIA tip-off, and do you know what happened? 300 officers and men were put on planes, American planes, were flown over the desert and pushed out. This regime is your responsibility.
And yours?
To bring society back to the pure, democratic spirit of Islam. The movement has already begun.
And you think that the princess was somehow involved in that struggle?
I do.
Yes. What you've given me is another version of the truth. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but I wish I had some facts. Simple facts. If I could just speak to somebody who knew her.
Perhaps I can help you, if you give me time.
Who knew her?
Yes.
Somebody on the inside?
Yes.
Who?
Let's just say she's someone with close connections with the royal family.
Who is she?
Someone we all respect very much. She knows what's going on. She may agree to see you, with my guarantees. And if she does, there will be no recordings, no notes, no mention of her identity to anyone. Not to your employer, not even to my uncle.
And you won't say...
I told you, we're not going to discuss her. And certainly not with that thing going.
How much do you know about palace life, Mr. Ryder?
A woman's life?
Yes.
Not much, what I've been told. The women are bored, caged up, expensive clothes.
And no education. Does that strike you as a good life for a woman?
No.
I have a friend, a princess. She's divorced like so many of them. Do you know what her greatest pleasure is? Get into her car at night and have the chauffeur take her to the Hotel Intercontinental. She cannot go inside. He buys a hamburger for her and she sits there in her car in the dark for hours just to watch people coming in and out.
I have met some professional women who are leading full...
We're talking about the royal family, princesses. Obviously, there are bourgeois women.
Yes, of course. Excuse me. What rights and privileges do you have as a princess?
Sex. Maybe that's a privilege. To relieve their boredom, these princesses live the most intricate and busy sex lives. Very little romance, quick liaison, sometimes cruel, always dangerous.
How do they make contact with the men?
The chauffeur and the personal maid. They make the contact and have the secrets. Of course, they're bribed, heavily bribed. The irony is that it's the women who choose the men. Yes, in a society as strict and tight as this, women are the predators. Men cannot choose because of the veil. Quelle chance le voilà. You know, Mr. Ryder, you ought to make a film about the veil. There's a road in the desert. Women go there to look men over. Every evening at about 5. When they choose a man, if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, they just move on. If they find a man attractive, they write down his number and tell the chauffeur to make contact. Ways of finding a man. The sword dances on national days, for instance. This is the great opportunity for men to show off. Night, the desert, the women sitting in their cars in the dark, watching men, selecting their men. The men, of course, know that they are being watched, so they excel themselves.
You disapprove?
Not on a moral basis. In fact, I even admire their guts, but I despise the hypocrisy. Do you understand?
I think so.
Do you? Do you know what it once meant to come from this place? To be straight, direct, to submit to no one. We were never colonized, Mr. Ryder, until now.
Can we talk about the princess?
Poor child. Poor silly child. She paid for all of them.
She came from the sort of society you describe?
Yes.
You knew her well?
Yes. You heard about her trip to London, I suppose.